Lanka and manager of our school, Reverend Asli Pereira, members of the governing board, with chief guest, Mr. Kumar De Silva,
parents, well-wishers, and my dear children. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. The crowd is live. It's my pleasure to address you all at the annual prize giving 2018. On behalf of the manager and the college, let me also welcome our chief guest, Mr. Kumar De Silva, to our midst. Mr. Kumar, it's a privilege for us to have you with us today as the chief guest, and we are very grateful to you for accepting our invitation to be the chief guest for our prize giving. It's a significant prize giving for him. I think he will share with you why it is.
Reverend Asli Pereira, President, Bishop, Methodist Church and Manager, Wesley College, Secretary, Reverend Kingsley, Vice President of the Methodist Church, Mr. A.K. Ratnaraja, Principal Sir, Co-Vice Principals, Past Principals, Headmaster and Sectional Heads, teachers past and present, those from the PTA, OBU, Welfare Society and the Governing Board, well-wishers, parents, prefects and boys of Wesley. I stand before you here today extremely proud and deeply humbled. It was exactly 50 years ago, in 1968, that I was admitted to grade 1 at Wesley College, and that makes me 50 years a Wesleyite for this year. On this stage, I have acted, I have sung, I have danced, I have spoken, I have got prizes, and I have even cried. And this stage thus holds for me a vast ocean of memories. Boys of Wesley, I believe you can see me, and I hope you can see me. My journey in life was not an easy one. It was one with a lot of financial difficulties. But Wesley College taught me never to give up. We were taught to pray and labor on, and that's what I did. As a Wesleyite, I'd like to share with you my philosophy of life and my triangle, which I worked out for myself, which has made me what I am today. The 3 points in my triangle are, number 1, empowerment with education, number 2, personal branding as a Wesleyite, and number 3, gratitude and humility. The principal touched on a few of these areas in his speech a little while ago. My first point is empowerment with education. Boys of Wesley, you all have a diamond inside you. What is a diamond? A diamond is a piece of carbon with great, great value. When you are born, you are a raw, uncut diamond. You then go to Montessori, to grade 1, you pass grade 5, O-levels, A-levels. And as you go on, you learn, and you keep educating yourself. In the process, you keep cutting yourself and polishing yourself, the diamond which is you. And then you come to A-levels. Your diamond has far greater value now than it had when you were in grade 1. It has cuts, it has facets, it is polished. You don't stop there. You go even further. You would go into university, into some kind of higher education, vocational training, and then you learn even more. You get into a job, you get married, you have children, and that too is a very adventurous learning experience. Your entire life is one big adventurous learning experience and not very easy at times. But through it all, you are cutting and you are polishing your diamond to give it greater and greater value. Now, your diamond having greater value means that you have greater value wherever you go. Remember, your education is something that no one can ever steal from you. It is yours and yours alone and will take you to greater heights. Also remember, follow your heart and do what you like to do. It is only then that you will do it well, very, very well. My father was a science teacher at Wesley College here. My mother was a maths teacher at All Saints College, Borella, across the Campbell Park. My grades at O-level were good. The fashion at that time was to become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or an accountant. The staff, my father's friends, some of you whom are here today, expected me to do maths and science or science for my A-levels. But I was a freak. I chose otherwise. I chose English, I chose economics, I chose French, and I chose German. They thought I was off my head. I was the only one in class. I was first in class, I was last in class. If I cut school, I got caught. I was the only one in class. I remember Mrs. Ranjani Fernando almost freaking out at my parents for agreeing to my wish. But I knew myself, if I had done maths or science, I would not be what I am today, and I would not be on this stage talking to you. I promise you. So I also let my two children follow their heart and do what they like to do. My son Rahul is now in university in Japan, and my daughter Anarkali is in her first year at A-levels. They're doing what they've chosen, what they like to do, and I believe they will do well. So, boys of Wesley, empower yourself with education. Keep learning until your dying day. You are the winner at all times, nobody else. Number two, second point in my triangle is personal branding as a Wesleyite. Wesley College is Reverend R. C. Pereira. Sri Lanka knows that. Wesley College is Mr. Avanka Fernando. Sri Lanka knows that. Wesley College are the officials of the OBU, the OWSC, and all those old boys, yes. But boys, Wesley College is also every single one of you. Whether you like it or not, you are all the brand ambassadors of Wesley College. From grade 1 to your A-levels, you wear the college crest on your shirt pockets. You are branded visibly. Everyone sees you and knows you as a Wesleyite, and that's what you call visible branding. You then leave school, and then you do not wear the college crest on your shirt pockets, but you are still a Wesleyite, and this is called invisible branding. You are more of a Wesleyite out of school as an old boy than you are a Wesleyite in school. Believe me, in the world out there, you are first judged on your packaging and on your branding. Before one gets to know who you are and what your qualifications are, they see you, your packaging. Now, what is your packaging? What is your branding? It is the way you talk, the way you behave, the way you conduct yourself in both private and public spaces, anywhere and everywhere. A classic example was the recent Wesley College Royal College rugby match. So, we don't want to talk about that. We are ashamed. Why? Because all Wesleyites were branded as hooligans and thugs that evening. Boys of Wesley, are we thugs? Are we hooligans? Can I hear you boys out there? Boys of Wesley, are we thugs? Are we hooligans? We are not. But the behavior of 1, 2, 3, 4 old boys made us all that. The media went to town. Social media went to town. Some other schools also went to town. You saw the videos. We hung our heads in shame, and Wesley College wept that evening. So, please remember, boys of Wesley, you are a Wesleyite in school, and even more so out of school, until you drop dead. We pride ourselves in being men of grit and industry, bound by one fraternal band. Yes, well and good. But the word alma mater is an old Latin word. The word alma means kind, nourishing, fostering, nurturing. Mater is mother. So alma mater is the mother who is kind to you, who nourishes you, who fosters you, and who nurtures you. Let us do this college proud and never ever let her weep in shame. We never make our mothers cry, do we? This also is our mother. Hence the importance of your branding as a Wesleyite for life. The third point in my triangle, in my life, is gratitude and humility. Most often in life, people forget their beginnings and their past, and those who helped them in their journeys up in life. And this, to me, is absolutely unforgivable. To have gratitude and to show it to those who deserve it makes a man a gentleman. You don't need to go far, boys of Wesley. Start with your teachers, with your school. When you're old boys one day, come back to your school, come back to Wesley College and ask her what you can do. There's so much you can do for Wesley College. As a young old boy, as a middle-aged old boy like myself, and even as a very old boy. Gratitude and humility are two beautiful words. The story I'm about to share with you happened 45 years ago in this hall, and no one knows this story except for my late parents and myself, not even my two children. I told this to my daughter last evening, and I got her permission to say it now. And here on this stage, I'm proud to make it public. We all know that in 1974, Wesley College was 100 years old. Wonderful year, grand year for Wesley College. The Prime Minister at Prize Day was Sirimavo Bandaranaike, the chief guest. I was in the choir, down somewhere here. And everyone who got prizes that year, all the boys, wore new clothes, new shirts and new trousers and new socks and new shoes. And even their parents who were in the audience here, they also got new clothes because it was Wesley's 100th year, and there was Mrs. B, the grandest year in the Wesley College calendar. I was in grade 7, and I was getting around 6 or 7 prizes that year. My parents couldn't afford to buy me new clothes, so they got me borrowed new clothes from a neighbor's son, my age. I wore a borrowed long-sleeve shirt, a borrowed pair of trousers, a borrowed pair of shoes. My mother was in the audience somewhere down there near that speaker in borrowed clothes herself, a borrowed sari, a borrowed pair of earrings, a borrowed chain, a borrowed zigzag bangles, and a pair of borrowed slippers. We were both in borrowed clothes, and no one ever knew that. That's not my story. And so my name was called up, and I came up on stage. I collected my prizes from Mrs. Bandaranaike, who was my parents' very close friend, but no one at Wesley knew that. My borrowed shoes were ill-fitting and loose on me, and as I walked down 5 steps there, I slipped and I fell, and I went sliding down. The prizes, the envelopes flew off my hand. The boys in the choir, they laughed at me. I'm telling you, it was embarrassing. I cringed in shame. That was not easy. But even to this day, I am thankful to that neighbor, Rohan Sauja, whose borrowed clothes I wore, and to that All Saints College teacher, Mrs. Bali Indarupta, whose clothes my mother wore at Wesley Prize Day 44 years ago. So that is my story, here, 44 years ago. I posted on social media today a photograph of that event, but this is the story behind that photograph that lots of you might have seen on social media from last night. Inasmuch as I'm grateful to all my teachers at Wesley College for what I am today and who I am today, and with due respect to all of them, some of them who are present here today, I'd like to single out one teacher who laid a foundation in my education and in my life, which opened the doors of the world to me. Mrs. B.A. Fernando, my French teacher. You're here today representing both. I think she deserves it. You're here today representing my mother and my father and also yourself. I don't think even you realized that the French you taught me in the biolab above the principal's office, surrounded by all those dead snakes and frogs and toads and all those horrible animals in those jars of formalin, would one day take me on a journey even I never dreamt of. I'm here on this stage today also because of you. The French language you taught me 40 years ago up there opened the doors of the world to me, and I'm grateful to you until my dying day. Madame Fernando, je parle un peu en français maintenant, comme vous le savez bien. Permettez-moi de vous remercier au bout de mon cœur pour tout ce que vous avez fait pour moi pendant mes années d'étudiant ici avec vous. Comme vous le savez, la langue française que vous m'avez appris a ouvert les portes du monde pour moi, et je vous remercie infiniment. Mr. Principal, as a very humble and proud Wesleyite, may I now take the liberty of breaking with tradition and doing something that I believe no other Wesley chief guest has done. May I? And so, boys of Wesley, that is my triangle. Empowerment with education, personal branding as a Wesleyite, and gratitude and humility. This has not gone wrong for me, and it won't go wrong for you either. As I leave you now, I'd like to share with you 3 lines that were said on this same stage at around 5 o'clock in the evening on Monday, the 15th of January, 1962, exactly 56 years ago, the year I was born. These were lines said by Arthur Shelton Veerasinghe at his induction that evening as the 15th principal of Wesley College. He went on to being Wesley's second longest serving principal after Reverend Henry Highfield. And those lines spoken by A.S. Veerasinghe that evening, more than half a century ago, are still relevant even today, and they are pregnant with meaning even today. I quote him, "Education does not end with the gaining of jobs. It is much more than that. Education is the training and the disciplining of the entire person." May you all be blessed by the triple gem, Teruan Saranai. Thank you.
Mufti Maisen. Sinhala Debating, Kumar De Silva Memorial Prize, Donor Mr. Bandula L. Guruge, Rukshan Dinesh Vijayanayaka. S. Munamale, Nadisha Setuge.